objective criteria. So he talks about, what the Bible says, for instance, in that sense. And so he's really holding up a mirror to Ras Shorty, who has actually criticized him and a number of other Calypsonians, recognizing where Shorty's transition himself, right? So there's a recursive style. In the last one there's a recursive style using the title of Shorty's Calypso, right? Which is that ain't good enough. Because right at the end, he actually accuses him, if you listen to it, where he says, remember, now you're holy, holy, but there was a time when you were hoary, hoary. So let's play the first of those, the first of those. So we're going to listen to Shorty, and then subsequent to that, we listen to Sparrow. And he ends with, that ain't good enough. So, I guess the question that we need to address here is the way that we can actually use our art form in helping us to resolve conflict. Because here you have two people who are really in a conflict. On the one hand, Shorty I says certain things, and Sparrow actually responds, holding up a mirror to Shorty I, saying, well, you know, I mean, are you any different? Yes. And irrespective of the changes that have happened in your life. So how can we benefit from that example? There are other examples. I mean, I've already presented a previous one with Zandoli. There are other examples that we will be looking at. But what you find is that there is a relationship between what happens on the stage and what happens in the community. So that you find that the lyrics are the mirror that actually reflect the pertinent issues. They frequently show the social phenomenon that interact with each other, as you see there, for instance, in between Shorty and Sparrow. So if we look at it in the context of, we spoke just now about formal and informal, and then non-formal. And if you look at it in the context of, I think I missed one there. If you look at it in the context of formal language, what we have is a causal, a linear, a temporal kind of relationship in formal language. That is in court language. Okay? In the non-formal, it's different. It's acausal, it's non-linear, it's atemporal, it's fluid, it's non-specific. It's really what I call the language of the unconscious. It is a language that speaks to us in our soul, that we understand things that are not said, right? And as an example of that, we can understand what is not said by listening to the next calypso, which is Jack's Question. It has not been a very popular calypso in Trinidad when it came out a few years ago, but I want to use one verse from it now. So what I want to ask you is, what did you hear? Because what he said is that Jack asked. Right? What is it that you heard? In the context of the language and in the context of the way that we speak and in the context of the unconscious language, what is it that we hear when people use these forms of communication? When Calypsonians use these forms of communication, and how can we use them in the context of resolving our conflicts, our disputes, right? So let's look at the professional attributes now. We can see that here it's flexible, it's malleable, there's an issue of ritual communication, there's fairness and justice. There is, and because of the uncertainty, there's a certain degree of chanciness. It is to some extent chancy. It is empathic, it's sharing of concerns. It's really about options, possibilities, opportunities, and success. It anticipates success. And I want to use as an example, I need to return to Sparrow again as an example of that approach. Here we have Sparrow having this. I'm sure you know this song. We Like It So. Everybody knows We Like It So, I think. Everyone who's a Trinidadian would know We Like It So. The actual title of the song is Steel Beam, right? But what you have here is that the text in black is actually Sparrow's words. And the text in red is his neighbor. And he's singing and he's alternating. Okay, so let's listen to it. Let's listen to it again with a different ear. And I think very often we have to listen to calypsos. I think Sparrow eloquently presented both sides of the argument. I think we have to agree that it's eloquently presented. And finally, earlier on it was referred to that the political calypso, which is something that I've authored, and it is available if you want. It's available in the shops. So I would like to say thank you very much and hand over to the eminent, the mighty chalk dust.
I was passing one day through Woodford Square, then a black man came up to me. Chalky, in your calypso songs next year, I want you attack UNC. Sing how Kamala appoint Wesley and Janice Thomas to rule over we, even though both of them may have no authority. By the time I reach up the green corner, an Indian man pulling the shirt. Chalky sing how Kid Rowdy Composter, he have no dignity nor word. Every day he attacking Kamala like if a sheep keep in label string. Down to the woman hat, Kid Rowdy criticizing. I tell them government